Welcome back to Let's Talk Race from Ireland. I'm your host, Harrison Paul. Today we're going to talk about Kylian Mbappé. Man, you know me, this is a pro-black page. I am always happy and delighted to see a young brother, win and do well. So I'm delighted for him, and there's been a lot of talk and speculation about his relationship with his prior team, PSG. Until now, he did a press conference. Obviously, they've got the Euros coming up, and France will be at the Euros, and he is the captain of the side for this tournament. And he was obviously going to be asked questions about Real Madrid, about his move, about everything. And what I love the most is that I actually watched the press conference before I watched what I'm going to show you guys now. And he did fantastic. Not at any point did I sense any pride, humility. There's obviously, a very, stained relationship there. And sometimes when a relationship is so stained, the only option you have is to lie, And it seems though Sky Sports wanted him to lie about the relationship they had. But for someone who kept it honest and said, look, it didn't end well, but still say I have love and respect, and in many ways he said that. And then when I went to the Sky Sports, they had an issue with the way he spoke. And I'm going to get into something really, really, something really good today, so you guys should stick with me. So I'm going to start by playing, the clip of the interview, not the interview, but rather I'm going to play the report on it that Sky did. And check this out. Watch this.
A lot of people are obsessed with transfers, but I think even the people who are really obsessed with transfers are just a little bit bored of Kylian Mbappé.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to just stop him there. At that point, I just was like, okay, you just kind of get the tone of this, right? We're bored of Kylian Mbappé. Well, we have not. Have you spoke that way about Jude Bellingham? We've heard loads about Jude Bellingham, and I want to just quickly touching that, and I will go on further about that, but just to start off early so you guys understand, sometimes racism can become so petty that when you say it out loud, even the perpetrators can say and defend themselves like, oh goodness, how petty does that sound? But that's who they are. And it sounds petty because we have two boys who are mixed race, but the small difference in obviously Jude Bellingham being raised by a white father, and a British white father at that comes out a lot in Jude's character. And I feel like Britain has connected with him and accepted him almost like a non-black in many ways, right? It seems as if they have accepted Jude as one of their own, and they're pushing him. And listen, again, that's a brother to me. His mama's black. I'm happy to see him get his shine. I'm happy to see him get his time. But I'm noticing the pattern here when Mbappe shows to be a young man of confidence. We hear a bunch of rumors about ego and all the sorts. When Harry Kane was not going to training because he wanted to leave Spurs, this was not the talk that we heard. We didn't hear ego talk. We didn't hear all these things. And it's like one of the things that I feel so sorry for football players, especially the black ones. I wonder what it's like to be a football player who has to believe you are great and throw your weight around, and then you have a whole career of people trying to minimize who you are or marginalize who you are and what they would call bring you back to size. And I have that in my small life. I have that in, my years of music. You have people who you have to face who are constantly trying to tell you, you're not that person. So in order for you to even perform well, you need to be able to build such a strong character that you can override that. Please follow me today, guys. Build this shell that you can be who you have pictured yourself to be in your mind. Because every day you are forced to step up to the plate and prove to yourself and prove to everybody that you deserve to be that guy. And then you get people who are not so happy with you being that guy. And when one person like Mbappe is showing confidence, and then when Jude has his hands spread out in the Bernabeu, I just feel like there's a different tone. And I was talking to a brother recently, and we're just talking about the biases when it happens to, like, listen, he was like, nah, man, it's about money. If we had money, they'd respect us. And no. Follow me on this episode. This is where you get to see that it's got nothing to do with money. And I said this in my last episode, I put on the screen, it's got everything to do with petty playground cliques. The status, the pyramid they've created. And you're gonna see where I'm going with this. But let me finish up this segment.
Because this has been going on for so long. He's got his dream move to Real Madrid, but guess what? He's making headlines again because he's been speaking about the move. He was talking today at France's pre-Euros training camp. He was put up at a news conference and he said the right things about Real Madrid, but I'm pretty sure he said the wrong things when it came to PSG.
That's so false. He did not say the wrong things. This is... oh my God. You know, when I'm awake now, as I understand this world that we live in. I understand how the British Empire made themselves this main empire. Propaganda. But you have to be able to catch it, or you just get caught under in the Matrix, really. I'm just watching them legitimately take a statement and completely twist it. Forget about what you heard backstage or what you heard he did in the club, what you heard this, that, and the other. In that statement, the one I watched prior to watching this, it was so humble. It was so humble. He never said, I'm unhappy, but they have twisted this. Would they have twisted this for Harry Kane? And then you ask yourselves, like, I keep thinking about, I always think about the arguments that people bring to me, and the argument of, oh, it's just money. If money was in the hands of black people, respect would come. And you're going to see, I'm going to bring in another major example here. So I'm going to try and finish this off quickly because there's another big example I want to prove to you that it's not about money.
When it came to Real Madrid, he said, I'm so happy, I'm so proud, it's an immense pleasure, it's dream come true, all the right things that you would expect him to say. But then when it came to talking about PSG, he was, I'm not sure how the PSG fans are going to take it, because basically he said, I wasn't unhappy at PSG, but there were some things and some people who were making me unhappy. Now, he didn't actually name the people, but I think the things that he was unhappy about were the fact that he was basically told last summer that if he didn't extend his contract, he wouldn't play for the club again.
I'm going to cut that off there. So you've seen how they twist things. Now, guys, I'm going to say something huge here. I just want you to follow me. Politics. Narrative. It's everywhere. It's everywhere there's humans. Everywhere there's humans, there'll always be cliques and he's hot or he's not, or we like him, or a selective uproar. Always. And then what you don't understand is that money then shifts into these hands because they allow power and money to shift into certain hands that they're okay with that. That makes them feel okay. That doesn't conflict with the status ladder that they've built in their mind. It's white supremacy status ladder. And here's my proof that it's white supremacy. In other news and football news today, yes, I'm a football fan. In other news today, Man City pressed charges against the Premier League for them adding a new rule. I'm going to paraphrase it here, that basically said the rule now was saying that, listen, if a club owner has a deal with any sort of a brand, and they want to be the ambassador of that team, let's say City and Emirates, it has to be overseen by the Premier League, that deal. It cannot be, I guess they're trying to now bring the financial fair play more and more. And this hits home to me again because I had just finished watching the interview, and I watched the interview last year as well, but I watched the interview of the owner of Manchester City. And he likes to sit down and have a conversation at the end of every season and just discuss what he feels. And he's such an impressive man. I'm going to be honest with you. He's like, I'm going to put his picture on the screen, kind of Dubai, man. I'm not sure exactly where he's from, but kind of you can tell where he's olive skinned around there. He lives in Dubai. And, such an impressive guy, knows the sport really, really well. Is really into the sport. And yeah, and I just feel that there's jealousy for this man. And the British Empire are so good at sophisticating their biases and sophisticating their prejudice and make it seem like what they do has been done out of a pure intention. Now, remember what I said to you? I keep hearing people saying if black people had capital, here is a man with capital. But it has been so engraved in their mind that black and brown Pakistanis or Paki people cannot sit on a higher stance than us. This is why there was uproar when all players were going to Dubai, or rather Saudi Arabia. It was not just the fact that there was a new league that was buying players and whatever you want to call it. It was where they had placed black and brown people in their mind that made them feel this person who's below us is trying and partly succeeding in rising above us and showing his muscle, which was the financial muscle. But I'm going to prove to you that this is the case, right? I'm going to prove to you that this is the case. So I watched this interview. I watched a couple of them, so you're going to have to go and watch them. But the way that these people are reacting, listen, if there's one thing I love and I love about what Ronaldo did when it came to the owners of Manchester United, and I loved what these people are doing now, is that there is this British culture of put up and shut up and polite. What's the polite thing to do? But the only people who truly benefit from that at the end of the day is them, because they know best how to operate in that. So when you're being oppressed under that polite culture, you are actually discouraged from making a stand or speaking up because it is not a part of European culture. The same goes for Ireland as well. So I love the concept of them challenging the league and feeling and saying this is discrimination and challenging, because it's always this polite culture. And there's something this guy said, one of the reporters here, and I just felt like these people talk pure nonsense. In their mind, the British Empire is still very much at the top of the pyramid. And they always talk, if you listen, if you're grown and you can hear it, it's with this superior tone. Let me play this for you.
We always say about the Premier League is the best in the world. One team can beat another on any given day. That's what we're fighting to maintain here. That's at the heart of this. And that's, I think, the message that has to be, portrayed within that room at the Premier League AGM on Thursday. It's vital that we keep the Premier League competitive, entertaining and watchable. And I have to say, if some of these cases sort of succeed, it will open the floodgates for more and we will lose the beauty of the Premier League.
Even this concept of the Premier League is the best league in the world, a constant thing of like, Real Madrid have 14 Champions Leagues. I don't know where they get these statistics in their mind. Where is it to show for it? Where are the World Cups, the Euros trophies, on the world stage? Who produces the best players every time? It just doesn't You have to be able to see that they have created this mirage in their mind that still lingers from their forefathers that tells them the British Empire is the end all and be all, and everyone else in the world must accept that fact. Guys, you got to follow me on this one. Listen to this.
If this case goes through, I'm sorry, but it brings down absolutely everything. The league would be in tatters, and frankly, it would be left, with almost a bit of a shell without much soul, I have to say. I think it's a really, really worrying development. I can't believe that too many right-minded City fans would be on board with this. I mean, listen, I love Manchester City and the way that they play, the way that they set up their teams. Pep Guardiola, the best manager, of all time almost, and it's wonderful to see. But the off-the-field stuff, this stuff is just, honestly, it leaves you shaking your head in absolute despair. It's a really, really worrying development, I must say.
Did you hear that? And now, for the biggest part, I want to play what this guy said. And at this point is the point I knew. I said, I'm going to do a video on this tonight. Listen to this.
But this just reeks. Who runs the game in this country? Should it be the people at the Premier League? Should it be the democracy in the Premier League, the 14, the majority of 14 who then vote these things through? Or should English football be run from Saudi and Abu Dhabi?
Should English football be run from Saudi and Abu Dhabi? You're talking to the people who are very okay with having a strong presence in everywhere else in the world. You are talking to people who are very proud about their language being spoken everywhere else in the world. But when they are being outdone, listen, I wish I could explain to you guys here. A lot of you guys are going to try and trivialize this message to all the charges or whatever. It's not about the charges. If this was a British man who was owning this club, if it was David Beckham owning this club, I'm telling you, they wouldn't feel the same. The tone would not feel the same. It's this theory in their minds. They can't grip their mind that, a brown person has come to dominate and almost take charge of their league. I have been saying to a brother quite recently about, there's this tug of war of is it finances? Is it capital to earn your respect? We're talking about Saudi billionaires here. How come they're not getting respect from them either? Because it is psychological. It is psychological. The problem of the West is that they've created this value system in their mind that puts white at the top. This is why we don't care about kids dying in the Congo. White at the top. This is why when Ukrainians who don't have money are dying, they feel something. So your theory about it being about money, and if we know it can't be that. So why do they feel the pain of broke Ukrainians? Why do they feel the pain of Israeli people? They have created a value system that puts white and it goes by shade. You ever see that meme of Family Guy? We say, I guess, how bad something is depending on the shade in which it comes in. We, as our generation, we are sent to abolish this. This is our responsibility to abolish this system. It's a value system. It's a value system that we must abolish, brothers and sisters. And the last thing I'll say before I sign off, I do not blame black brothers and sisters who cannot read the room. I was living in North America and I'm now living in the UK. And I'm quite glad, although I'm looking forward to get back to Ireland where I was raised, I'm quite happy to be here because I want to say the UK is the most professional racists. Absolutely seamless and sophisticated. You walk out of encounter with somebody, a British person, you walk out of it thinking, what just took place there? You just got whipped, slapped up, down, left, right. before you could even register what had happened, they're saying, okay, have a good day, bye-bye. That's how underhanded it is. And it seeps. It seeps. I have this video I got to play for you before I check out today. It's a black girl. I think it's a black girl, boy, and she's in a clip here. I'm sorry if I misgendered her, but she said, I lived in America, and she's American, and now I live in the UK, and she goes, the major difference that the UK, it seeps your soul. I'm gonna play that clip for you. Check it out.
The societal structure for black people in London is so crazy compared to the societal structure for black people in Atlanta. I'm going to speak more specifically for people like me. I'm speaking for myself because I can only speak for myself in it. All right, so I moved to London 5 years ago. I came out to London not necessarily understanding what was socially acceptable, because in Atlanta we have a whole different biometric of things to go by, which is not really something I see people talking about. But yeah, it's crazy. Obviously, I came out to London and I had to change my language and change the way that I speak about certain things because it's just not acceptable here. Whereas in Atlanta, I get to exist as a less palatable version of me. But the thing about existing in Atlanta is so much more dangerous. But the thing about existing in London is it's like it kind of eats your soul and doesn't really leave much room for like black joy. Like at least Atlanta, we have black joy.
So there you have it, folks. Since I've been here, I've just been learning the sophisticated, and you've got to keep up the speed. You've got to keep up the speed, or else you'll be the butt of the joke every time in this country. And it keeps you up to speed, and it keeps you not being naive, and it keeps you eat or be eaten. And you gotta learn to eat before you get eaten. And they will do it in such a way where they blame you as a victim. You've got to be okay with being a bad guy. You've got to be okay with being exiled. So that takes me back to the Mbappé situation. It's like, to be a brother with confidence, it's not easy to do in Europe. To walk with your head high and boldly and know your worth. No, they're going to twist your name and mess it up. But guess what? The likes of Harry Kane get 10 lives, 9 lives. Oh, he's just a young kid. Or he's just excited. Or they get all the excuses for the young people who are cocky. Or, it's Foden. Or, it's whatever. It's all excuses for their own. But you, very little lives. Already they branded you all. And this is what I'm saying. They have this value. It's the value system. It's got nothing to do with money. Money flows into the hands of the value system. So what we have to do is abolish, trample, break, tear down the value system and show that value system means absolutely nothing to us, because the problem is that they have indoctrinated us to believe that value system subconsciously is a real thing. So there's certain people we hold weight for as black people, which are white, and we don't hold weight for ourselves. And one of the things I've trained myself to do is to hold no weight for the white man. It's to hold no weight. This unearned weight, this manipulative culture. I now take time for a brother. Even today, there's a young brother, he's a gym. I always click up with him. Got a great physique, and I'm a pump a brother up. I'm gonna tell you, bro, I love your physique or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because I think we've gotten this toxic trait where we can't pump each other up as black folk, but we top down to white folk. We showing them that we've got great energy, and look at me, I'm a nice Negro, I'm a great Negro. I am trying to undo the curse of my ancestors, that lingering of a colonized mind where we have subscribed to their value system. We need to undo that. And when we undo that, that is when we get black billionaires and millionaires automatically our leaders want to think, how can I feed and impress my own? Because the mind is no longer colonized. The value system is no longer white is right and black is wrong. But you have to watch these people. When you really study them, you understand how they indoctrinated us. You understand how they continued it on for so long. And when you understand that, you say, now I'm going to do this for my own people. And that is why I understand totally and utterly why we have not come out of the position we are. It takes crazy amount of self-determination. It takes, when you know what I know after studying them, white folk, Europeans, I can't even put it all in one clip. They've everything is infested. Look at this, I'm watching sports, I see it in sports, with their biases. Everything is infested with the biases. And before I end today, I'm sorry, I'm going to play one more clip so you guys can understand how biases work. This is about Trump. Check this out.
This photo is proof that conservatives understand the concept of systemic racism. They're saying these are the judges that are overseeing Donald Trump's appeal. And they don't think he's going to be able to get a fair appeal process because they're black and they're women. So you do understand systemic racism. That's what you're saying. You understand systemic racism. You understand how somebody's race and gender might influence the decision-making process. That's interesting. That's interesting because what do you think life was like for non-white people for the past 400-ish years? Anytime you got a loan, anytime you went to the doctor, anytime you dealt with a police officer, anytime you dealt with a politician, you were dealing with a white man. And you were at the mercy of whatever bias that person had. And of course, conservatives know this. That's why they're afraid of being a minority in America. Because they know how they themselves treat.
Do you understand that? And like, I love how he said in day-to-day life, when you dealt with anybody, and I watch them in their news channels and everything, it's infested with their biases. And they keep the power, and it's like a ball they're passing about themselves. A message, an understanding they have amongst themselves, a protection for themselves, a self-determination. I don't know what to call it, but they all know the code. They all stay in the code. And when you want, and we have to show that we can break that code. And when you do break it, they look at you like you're a disobedient, you're a harsh person, there goes that mind game again. And you've got to be okay with saying, yeah, and so what? Exile me, I'm out. That's cool, fine, bye. Why? Because I can find another brother who gonna work with me. The same way they don't care. If you're racist to a black person, you're not gonna get a bunch of people who are gonna stop working with you. Boris Johnson still becomes prime minister. Donald Trump can still become president. They don't have anything of like whenever they offend. It's only us who exile people out of our community when they offend our oppressor. It's only us who want to show how impartial we are. Indoctrination, brothers and sisters. That was a lot I put in there today, but that's all I'm going to say today. This is something I'm really always trying to unpack. But congratulations to Mbappé. Congratulations to Jude also. But truth be told, you're a brother with a white British dad, and that has definitely got something to do with them accepting your confidence in a positive light. I could go on all day. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
And I'm on a mission for you.